He was a musical genius in the eyes of billions around the globe. The living legend was extremely influential, but rather a mysterious figure to say the least. But despite all the accolades and historic achievements earned, the singer would learn the true price of extreme fame over the course of his career. Let's take a look back at the wild life of the king of pop, Michael Jackson, and find out what actually happened. While most children were outside playing with their friends and having fun, Michael, along with his brothers, were doing intense musical rehearsals under their father's strict thumb. Joe Jackson was all about perfection, and his kids didn't have much of a say in the matter at all. The fear of their dad kept them pushing through the tough days and long nights. Joe perhaps was the hardest on Michael despite him being the youngest. Early on, Mike showed he was quite a special talent, and his vocal ability stood out like a sore thumb.
When I had you, I treated you bad.
Once Joe was satisfied with the group's progression, he booked them to perform all over town. The strenuous time the boys spent working on their act was really starting to pay off quickly. The Jackson 5 group would sign with a well-respected Motown label, and their popularity began to explode. While the entire band held their own on stage, Michael was undoubtedly the shining star in the family. It wasn't long before the label wanted Michael to produce solo material. Massive songs and critically acclaimed albums would come from his solo venture. As he grew older, he went on to fully embrace being a standalone artist, and his fame would grow immensely. Michael started to experiment more with a new style, improve his sound, and he focused more on choreography than before. Jackson was transforming into a full-blown megastar. He would put the entire world on notice of his growth with a very elaborate music video. Thriller became a monster single that established he was different from all the other artists in music at the time. The theatrics and creativity introduced set a new standard for videos going forward. Jackson's follow-ups also would set the charts on fire and earned him more awards for his mantle.
I made a deal with myself: if I win one more award, which is this award, which is 7, which is a record, I would take off my glasses.
His album went on to sell over 30 million copies within 12 months of being available on the store shelves. Michael's stardom had exploded like never seen before in the music industry. Brand deals came quick, his shows were selling out, and big money now started to come in at alarming rates. Jackson would start living a more extravagant lifestyle and reap the benefits that came with the abnormal success. Behind the scenes, he also put his high income to good use. He was able to purchase rights for a music catalog that hosted thousands of classic albums, including those of the Beatles. But being the most famous artist in the world came with its fair share of negatives for the star. The tabloids paid very close attention to Michael, dissecting his every move. His change of appearance would generate a lot of bad publicity, and the media speculated if he was having an identity crisis. Rarely did Jackson do interviews, which created even more intrigue surrounding the singer. But the well-renowned talk show host Oprah Winfrey would get the privilege to do a sit-down interview with the larger-than-life figure.
The thing that is most discussed about you, I think, is the fact that the color of your skin is obviously different than it was when you were younger.
Yes.
And so I think it has caused a great deal of speculation and controversy as to what you have done or are doing. Are you bleaching your skin? And is your skin lighter because you don't like being black?
I have a skin disorder that destroys the pigmentation of the skin. It's something that I cannot help, okay? But when people make up stories that I don't want to be who I am, it hurts me.
When he wasn't in the studio or performing on stage, Jackson often worked with non-profit organizations and donated millions of dollars to various charities to help children in need. But his generosity would seem to come at a great cost. One of Michael's most interesting purchases was a property in California. Not only did the estate be where he laid his head at night, it also doubled as a luxurious amusement park. Neverland had a fully operational zoo, and it even had theme park rides as well. Jackson often held charitable events on the grounds, and sometimes he would open it up to the public. Among the many children allowed on the lavish property was 12-year-old Jordan Chandler. The boy had visited the ranch multiple times with his father, and eventually he developed a close friendship with Michael. As their bond grew over the months, the visits turned into unsupervised interactions between the two. Not long after, allegations were raised by the child's father of inappropriate behavior taking place. The local authorities would be contacted, and they would investigate the rather unsettling reports. The mansion was raided by the local police after a search warrant was granted, and they left no stone unturned. It didn't take long for the media to catch wind of the developing story and raise valid concerns.
I ask all of you to wait and hear the truth before you label or condemn me. Don't treat me like a criminal, because I am innocent. I have been forced to submit to a dehumanizing and humiliating examination by the Santa Barbara County Sheriff Department and the Los Angeles Police Department earlier this week. They served a search warrant on me which allowed them to view and photograph my body, including my penis, my buttocks, my lower torso, thighs, and any other area that they wanted. They were supposedly looking for any discoloration, spotting, blotches, or other evidence of a skin color disorder.
Due to no sufficient evidence found validating the claims, no criminal charges were filed against Jackson. The family, however, would pursue a civil lawsuit, and Michael would settle the case for $20 million in order to move on from the scandal. His reputation would take a massive blow following the unflattering accusations, despite not being charged with the crime. After the allegations and extreme scrutiny by the media, Michael became even more private than he was before. But the pop star still didn't miss a beat when it came to his music career, as he continued to top the charts for the following years. As the 2000s began, Jackson's star power saw a drop as the younger generation flocked to newer artists that were emerging. But Michael's name would be all over the news again in 2003. A British documentary following the former superstar's daily life was aired on TV. Attention was put on Michael's questionable choices when it came to his relationships with children. Not long after the documentary, Jackson was accused of having inappropriate contact with a 13-year-old boy. But unlike the 1993 accusation, Michael was charged and arrested due to potential evidence that could back up the claims.
Bizarre behavior that has now led him to be charged with sexually molesting a 13-year-old boy. If convicted, he could spend 20 years in prison. Now out on bail and awaiting trial, tonight, Michael Jackson speaks out for the first time about his arrest, his accuser, and the charges that have, for the moment, made his life a shambles.
What is your response to the allegations that were brought by the district attorney in Santa Barbara that you molested this boy?
Totally false.
After 5 months in court examining the wild story, the jury would find the music icon not guilty when it was all said and done. Michael went back into the shadows once again and began isolating himself from the public. The aging icon developed a dependence on prescription drugs to treat stress, anxiety, and severe insomnia. Things reached a head in the summer of 2009 when his private physician Conrad Murray administered a strong sedative to assist with his sleep issues. Shortly after, Jackson had become unresponsive and his breathing stopped.
Sir, we have a gentleman here that needs help, and he's not breathing yet. He's not breathing, and we're trying to pump him, but he's not breathing, sir.
Okay, how old is he?
He's 50 years old, sir.
50, okay. He's unconscious, he's not breathing?
Yes, he's not breathing, sir.
Okay, and he's not conscious either?
No, he's not conscious, sir.
Okay. All right, do you have him, is he on the floor? Where's he at right now?
He's on the bed, sir. He's on the bed.
Okay, let's get him on the floor.
Okay.
Okay, let's get him down to the floor. I'm going to help you with CPR right now, okay?
We need him. Yes,
we're already on our way there. We're on our way. I'm going to do as much as I can to help you over the phone. We're already on our way. Did anybody see him?
Yes, we have a personal doctor here with him, sir.
Oh, you have a doctor there?
Yeah, but he's not responding to anything. He's not responding to CPR or anything.
He was quickly rushed to the hospital once emergency services had arrived on the scene. Unfortunately, later in the evening, the music icon was pronounced dead. Millions of fans were left in disbelief following the official report. Every music network would dedicate much of their programming to Michael's legacy. Despite all of the controversy that took place over the years, Michael Jackson is still considered to be one of the most influential artists of all time, and someone that made an undeniable impact that changed music forever. But what are your thoughts on this story? Were you a Michael Jackson fan? What is your favorite Michael Jackson memory? Leave a comment below and let me know.